of the wind that night. It wasn't the soft kind that carried the scent of wild sage or the promise of rain. No, this wind howled, cutting sharp through the wooden beams of the old mercantile roof where I stood, toes curled over the edge, staring down at nothing but hard-packed dirt and the finality of silence. I was young, far too young to be carrying the weight I bore. My hands trembled as I clutched the folds of my dress around my belly, swollen with life I wasn't sure I could provide for. Folks in town whispered, some with pity, others with cruel delight. A girl left behind. A girl ruined. A girl with nowhere to go. The prairie stretched endlessly beyond, but for me there was no road forward. My breath hitched, my vision blurred. I thought maybe if I stepped into the wind, the ache inside me would scatter too. That's when I heard the voice, low, urgent, and broken. Don't jump. I froze, heart pounding, the weight of my decision suspended in that single moment. From the shadows below, a man stepped forward, his boots crunching the dust. He wasn't a cowboy like the others, though his broad shoulders could have fooled me. His vest was worn, his shirt sleeves rolled, but I caught the glint of something different in him, city polish dulled by hardship. His eyes met mine, steady and pleading. I know what it feels like to want it all to end. His name, I'd learn later, was Matthew Kane. Folks called him the city man, though in truth he was once something greater, a CEO, they said, back east. A man who had built empires of steel and glass before the stock market chewed him up and spat him westward. He was a stranger here, same as me. And like me, he carried shadows. That night, he climbed the ladder to the roof, slow and deliberate, as if any wrong move would send us both tumbling. My breath came in ragged sobs, my arms trembling as I pressed them protectively over my child. You don't know what I've lost, I whispered. His jaw tightened. Maybe not. But I've lost more than money. I've lost pride. Family. Friends who turned when the world did. I've stared down a bottle and thought maybe that was easier. He swallowed, and for a moment, I saw raw honesty flicker in his eyes. But easier don't mean better. Easier don't mean your baby deserves the fall. The words struck me deep. Not me, my baby. The days that followed, he didn't leave me alone. At first, I hated him for it. Matthew showed up at the boarding house where I stayed, not with judgment but with a sack of apples, a loaf of bread, or sometimes just silence. He'd sit on the porch rail, watching the horizon, speaking little unless I let him. I'd find myself staring at the lines in his face, the exhaustion he carried like a badge. He wasn't a man untouched by life's cruelty, he was scarred, but still standing. You're stronger than you think, he told me once, his gaze on the prairie sky that burned pink with sunset. A weak man runs. A strong one stays, even when he don't believe he can. I wanted to believe him. But nights were the hardest. Alone in that creaky little room, I'd clutch my belly and cry into the pillow, wondering how I'd feed a child when I couldn't even keep myself whole. One stormy evening, the rains pounded so hard the roof leaked, dripping cold water onto my quilt. I broke down, shouting at the heavens, cursing the man who left me, cursing God himself. That's when the knock came at my door. It was Matthew, drenched to the bone, hair plastered, carrying a bundle of wood for the stove. He set it down without a word, lit the fire, and only then looked at me. Don't be angry at the rain, he said softly. It don't mean to drown you. Sometimes it just don't know how to stop. I wept then, not because of the rain, but because his kindness cracked something in me. Days turned to weeks. Slowly, I began to trust him. He'd walk me down dusty trails, telling stories of the city skyscrapers that touched the clouds, carriages without horses, boardrooms filled with men who thought themselves kings. Yet in the telling, I could hear his regret. I built it all, he admitted one night as we sat by a crackling fire. And I lost it all, 'cause I forgot what mattered most. People. Family. Love. He looked at me, then truly looked. My heart stuttered. The day my pains began, I feared I'd die. Hours of screaming, gripping bed sheets, my body torn between life and death. But Matthew never left my side. His rough hands held mine through every cry, his voice grounding me when I thought I'd lose my breath. And when my child's cry filled that room, tiny, fragile, but alive, Matthew wept. Not silently, not in secret. He wept openly, shoulders shaking as if the weight of both our sorrows had finally broken free. I named my daughter Hope. For she was born in despair, yet carried the promise of something greater. Matthew stayed. He didn't run, though Lord knows he could ve. Instead, he built me a cradle out of pine, sanded smooth and painted with care. He'd rock her when I was too tired, humming low tunes that carried through the night. In time, I realized something I'd been blind to all along. He hadn't just saved me on that roof, he had saved himself too.